Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Reflexology Workshop with Larry Heisler. He is from New Jersey Massage. Just a few quick tips and notes before we start the presentation. Feel free to pop all of your questions in the chat. Larry said that we're very relaxed here tonight. We'll go through the questions as we see them. Captions are being provided for this event. You can press the captions button at the bottom of your screen to view the captions. I've also provided a link for the Spanish captions in the chat box. A few days after the event, everyone who is registered is going to get an email about an evaluation form from our grant sponsor. Please consider filling out the evaluation form as it greatly helps us provide and improve future programming. We would like to thank tonight's the National Network of Libraries of Medicine, Middle Atlantic Region, a partner of All of Us Research Program, for providing grant funding for tonight's presentation and captions. The All of Us Research Program aims to build one of the largest, most diverse collections of data of its kind for health research. The goal is to have 1 million or more diverse volunteers nationwide who will sign up to share information over time. The goal of the program is to help researchers understand more about why people get sick or stay healthy. By looking for patterns, researchers may learn more about what affects people's health. To learn more about the All of Us research program, visit www.joinallofus.org/NLM. And for our instructor tonight, it is my pleasure to introduce Larry Heisler. He is a massage therapy pioneer and director of the longest running school of massage in the Garden State. We also have Terry with us tonight, who will be Larry's model. Larry's presentation will be fun, hands-on, and filled with great health-related information. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Larry. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was very excited when I got the phone call from Allie to perhaps share, especially because you guys are all from North Bergen, and a little unknown fact, I got married in North Bergen at that beautiful waterside restaurant called the Waterside. Of course, on the day of the wedding, it was July 4th. The reason why we had it in North Bergen was because the fireworks, if you remember, was always right on the Hudson River, and it was right in your neck of the woods, and it was right there in front of the Waterside. So we figured we would have the wedding, everybody would be dancing, and then we go outside and we watch the fireworks, and they would be like right in front of you. Except Mayor de Blasio of New York had other plans. And 2 months before our wedding on July 4th, he canceled the fireworks on the Hudson and brought it over to the East River. And that's history. But in any case, I want to thank you for coming today. I'm a little older as a massage therapist. I started this school in 1980. We're the longest running massage school. I've taught over 10,000 students. I've done 65,000 massages. I specialize in pain and manual lymph drainage, before and after surgery. But reflexology, foot massage has always been one of my favorite things to share and to teach because, well, you can see on the foot chart that we're putting up right now, there, you can see how much is involved with it. And now we sent you a nice package, a handout that had not only the techniques that we'll be learning tonight, but a bunch of really good charts. And this is just a picture of one of my foot charts that I had rolled up in the closet, and I unrolled it. You see under the red foot chart at the top, it says the original Ingham Method. Eunice Ingham was the gal who invented or was the biggest contributor to the foot reflexology. It goes back to the ancient Asian cultures where they had zones of your body, and each zone would relate to other zones in your body. And if you've ever seen a picture or a video, you'll know that the top of the head and the top of the feet are all allied. The chest is like the ball of the feet. The the center of your body is like the center of the foot, and it goes like that, so that you can get an idea of the macrocosm and the microcosm. Um, so it was a Dr. Fitzgerald, who was a podiatrist, that started mapping and researching the reflexes, the zones in the human body, and came up with some of the original charts with his buddy Eunice Ingham. Eunice herself was a short um, European woman that was an outlaw because she was practicing medicine without a license, they would say. And her foot massage was anything but a nice, relaxing massage. It was as painful as all get up, like the lady who wrote that said she had a foot reflexology and it was painful. I want to tell you my story with the foot reflexology. I was in the 1980s, I was to go out to Easton, Pennsylvania to work on Larry Holmes, the boxing champ. And he was going to be fighting Mike Tyson at the time. And at the last moment, he got called on to the Letterman show. And while I already got there, and so they canceled out at the last moment. So the people that set it up were so um, disappointed, and they kept apologizing to me. And then they said, but we're going to make it up. We're going to send you to one of Eunice Ingham's students. And Eunice probably died in the 1930s. So this lady was in her mid 70s at the time, and she was an original student of the great Eunice Ingham. And so they took me to a place in Allentown, to her house, and I was put into a lazy boy recliner. And then for an hour and 15 minutes, I was tortured. I was screaming. It was worse than going to the dentist without Novocaine. Um, and afterwards, I got really sick. I felt nauseous. For 3 days, I was like terrible. And at that time, I thought I was really healthy because I was eating kind of like a vegan diet. I was doing martial arts every day. I was meditating like crazy. I think I wanted to be St. Francis or something. But I thought I was really, really healthy. She kind of showed me that I still had plenty to go. Um, I don't think that any pain is necessary in a massage. I tell all the students that come through, if you're hurting people, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that we desensitize the body prior to going in, and we never go in deeper than necessary. I'd rather take longer to get you to the place that you need to be as opposed to doing it in one session. It might take, 5, but you're not screaming. But the foot reflexology was the way that they did it was a therapeutic technique that they were treating specific conditions, whereas we at our school, we just give a good foot massage that is enjoyable and wonderful and relaxing and helps you sleep more and lowers your blood pressure and works with PMS or menopausal symptoms or perimenopause. There's some studies that have been done with it that show that it does have some science behind it. There is some literature. Usually, when you're thinking about all these foot charts and hand charts, the next chart that Ali is going to show you is our hand chart. And like the foot chart, it's going to show you places where the hands are related to all the internal organs in your body. Now, people often say, "Well, Larry, if it hurts, what does that mean?" And I would say, well, that point is the kidney point. Does that mean there's something wrong with my kidneys? No, 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 no. It means that maybe you ate too much salt, maybe you ate too much protein, maybe it's about an excess. Most of the complaints, most of the illnesses in America are about excesses. The number one cause of death in America is heart disease, and most people would say that's excess fat, right? Number two would be cancer. If you call up the American Cancer Society, they would say that 80% of all cancers are environmental, meaning land, water, air, chemicals, pesticides, microwave towers, x-rays, the sun. There's so many different exposures. And our body can handle some of that exposure, but when you're overexposed, then cancer becomes part of the equation. Number three cause of death in America is diabetes, and diabetes is rampant throughout, and that the excess there is fat and sugar. So if you go on to look at the top 10 causes of our demise, you'll see that it's either excess salt, excess alcohol, excess mucus forming foods, excess of something. And as we get our excesses under control and we eat more closely to a plant-based diet, all the pains in our body start leaving, and we start getting healthier and more flexible. I often say that rigor mortis sets in way before you die. Rigor mortis is the stiffening of a body once it has died. And that rigor mortis sets in while we're walking. And so if you came for a massage therapy appointment, after I would introduce myself and talk a little bit about the history of your intake form, I might say, okay, after you, and I'll watch you walk down to my treatment room. And I will be able to see from just watching you walk where you're frozen, what's tight, what's stiff, because we're supposed to be fully flexible and loose and relaxed. But that's hard to be that person, especially in a pandemic, but at any time. So the first two charts was just to show you a little bit of how complex this foot reflexology is, and we're not going to really be doting on the reflexes and looking at the relationships between the organs and the pains and sensitivities. We're just going to teach you how to do a good foot massage tonight, because that's one of the luxuries and pleasures of living. I want to show you, these are Footsie Rollers. These are rollers that have like grooves on them, and they're a little pointy, and you would put them on the floor in your stocking feet or barefoot if you're brave, and you would roll your foot on them, right? And it would go into all the reflexes of your feet or even your hands, and it would go into the reflexes, give it the stimulation that would move things in your body. I often say that deep tissue massage, the kind that we do to your whole body, makes you younger, breaks up the hardness, the aging. We all get shorter as we get older. We all get harder and tighter. Our bodies get colder and more inflexible. And yet when I work on a person, I break up all that hardness. So I often tell people as a joke, you can call me Ponce de Leon because I'm the fountain of youth. I'm going to oxygenate your body, increase your circulation, break up the hardness in your shoulders and in your neck, get the circulation and the blood flow and oxygen running up to your brain so you have more clarity, more acuity, less memory loss, things like that. And it's the same with the feet, because the feet represent your whole body. And you'll see it in our charts as we go along. So the science, there is some science to it. Of course, there are contraindications, as in everything. If you have diabetes, if you have peripheral neuropathy, if you have blood clots, common sense things, the rule at my school is, if in doubt, leave it out, right? If you have a question about, should I be doing this because I have this condition or that condition, you can always give a call to your doc and say, Doc, what about a foot massage? What about a Swedish or a deep tissue massage? What would be good? What's contraindicated for me? Very often they will be helpful in that case. And I always put the onus of responsibility on the doctors, because the buck stops with them most of the time. And so if in doubt, leave it out. Insomnia, anxiety, um, there's a lot of things that a good foot massage would work for. Now, keep in mind that there's some warm-ups to this. I mean, wouldn't it be a lovely thing if when you got home from work, your significant other had a foot bath, sitting right next to your favorite chair, and it's warm foot bath. Maybe there's some Epsom salts in there. Maybe there's an essential oil like peppermint to cool your body off, or rosemary to warm your body up. or perhaps um, you might try some apple cider vinegar in the water. My wife is the former prima ballerina of the New Jersey Ballet, and all the ballerinas have tricks of how to deal with the aches and pains in their body. And she would say she usually takes a cup of apple cider vinegar and throws it into the bathtub. And because it's alkalizing, it increases the oxygen levels in your body, and that lessens the pains and aches in your body. And frankly, it works because on Sunday, uh, I did yard work. I did my my fall cleanup in the spring because I never got to it in the fall, and there was a lot of endless leaves and trees and twigs and sticks and so forth. And then I was with that blower going back and forth. And so after a whole afternoon of going back and forth with a 30-pound blower, my lats in the center of my body, everything was achy. And I walked in, I was like, oh, I'm getting old. And she said, go take an apple cider vinegar bath. Now, the only problem with the apple cider vinegar bath or that foot bath with the apple cider vinegar in it is you will smell from vinegar. So you might want to take a shower afterwards, which I did. I actually said, if you bring some olive oil, we can have a salad. But, so in any case, there are things that you can put in a foot bath and then a foot massage after that. If you want to really say, I love you, or happy birthday, or happy Valentine's Day, that is one of the great things of life, where somebody massages your feet and with those beautiful oils of lavender or rosemary or something like that, something that really can help and make a difference.
Harry, can I ask a question from the chat?
Yes, please.
Someone is asking, would you be able to use reflexology or foot massage for psychological concerns? So I'm assuming they mean mental health. Like if you have anxiety or depression, is this a good thing for you to be able to know how to massage or your feet or hands?
Well, I'm always going to say yes. I'm a massage therapist. I spent my whole career in that field, and I've worked with lots of psychiatrists and psychologists, clinical psychologists, who refer their patients to me to make breakthroughs, to help them to calm, to help them to find their relaxation place, to help them to breathe and relax at the same time. You can take Xanax or you can get a foot massage. I'm not sure that the foot massage is going to work as well as the Xanax, but it's going to be certainly a lot safer, right? So I would try it and see how that works. And remember, if you're coming to a professional like myself or one of my staff, an hour of any type of massage is good therapy. It's really good therapy. And Terry, who's my model today, Terry, she got her nursing license in 1961, Terry? 1960. And Terry just retired. She was running a nursing home for years and years and years. And she's a licensed massage therapist as well. And I know that she used the massage therapy on many of the clientele at the nursing facility because when people would get uptight and upset and have so many difficulties, it's so challenging. Aging is so challenging that any little thing a little nicety that can take some of the edge off would be a good thing. I also want to say that I had doctors sending me into people's homes who were on their last days of life because of cancers and because of all different sorts of degenerative conditions. And they would say, Larry, she hasn't gotten more than an hour's sleep in months. Just give her a good foot massage and relax her. And I would get a phone call that she slept 5 hours without any complaints. And that would be something wonderful. So I think that it's worth a try. It definitely helps. Um, okay, so let's move on. I want to go over the charts that we put into your package tonight. So the first chart is who said the feet don't count, right? So that's the next one, Allie. And that one, there it is. We have 26 bones, 33 joints in the feet, 107 ligaments, 19 muscles and tendons, 8,000 nerves, 250,000 sweat glands. The average person walks 4,000 to 6,000 steps a day. I know there's a lot of people with those watches that are trying to get 10,000 a day. Um, we put 100,000 miles in a lifetime on our feet, and 75% of us will experience foot problems during that time. So the feet do count, and they take a pounding and a beating. And I got those Reflexology sandals. I don't know if you've seen them. They're a little pricey, um, but it was a Japanese fella that created this sandal that when you walk on it, there's like these little nubby things on the bottom of the feet. At first, it really was uncomfortable, but I got used to it. I can only take it for like 10 minutes, but boy, talk about the stimulation in your body when you use something like that. So there are a lot of reasons to get a good foot massage. Maybe it's just for the relaxation, maybe it's just for the fun of it, but it certainly is therapeutic. Any form of massage increases circulation, and the rule that I teach in the school and in the last book that I wrote, I doted on it a lot. I said that anything that increases circulation will speed up healing and decrease pain. If you remember when Nathan Pritikin in the 1970s was at the Mayo Clinic, he was curing people of incurable illnesses with his plant-based diet. And he had two groups of men who were age 61 on average. One group was on an experimental diet, which was his plant-based complex carbohydrate diet. The second group was on the American Heart Association's diet, which was pretty much a standard American diet. And the guys that were on the plant-based diet, there was no red meat, no dairy products, no sugar, no simple carbohydrates, no alcohol. Um, but remember, these guys were in wheelchairs. They can only walk 100 feet, and then their calf pain was so disabling that they had to be put back into their wheelchair. So the only other codicil of the diet was that every hour, those guys on the diet had to get up and try to walk. They would only be able to walk 100 feet normally, but now that they were on this plant-based diet, they started having dramatic effects. Well, by the end of the 6 months, every guy that was on the plant-based diet was walking between 6 and 10 miles per day. Every one of them was jogging before the study's end. That's only a half a year of eating in that way. Um, Congestive heart failure in total remission. All the cardiovascular illnesses, rheumatoid arthritis went to remission. Half of the guys that were insulin dependent were taken off of insulin. It was a remarkable, miraculous, cure-based approach. Up until that point in the 1970s, if you asked the cardiologist, Doc, is there anything I can eat? Is there anything I can take, a supplement, an herb, a technique that I can use, an exercise that I can do that can help me deal with this condition that I have? And they would routinely say, it's genetic. There's nothing that you can do. All we can do is manage with prescription drugs your condition. And then Pritikin comes along with his radically new diet, which wasn't really new, but because the macrobiotic people were using it for many decades prior to that. But he comes along with this, and he's curing everybody of all of their complaints and illnesses in a dramatic fashion. So they asked him, how is it possible? And he said, when you eat this diet is based on the diet that people eat in all the countries of the world. We did the epidemiology, and we found that the more animal food a person eats, the more degenerative disease they have. The less animal food a person eats, the less degenerative disease they have. And this approach is based on the people who have the least amount of illness and lived the longest. People in Okinawa, people in Greece, in different places of the world. And that was pretty much a Mediterranean diet. We called it a Pritikin diet back then, or a complex carbohydrate diet, but now it's pretty much called a Mediterranean diet. And when they said, well, how is it possible that they can cure so fast? He said, When you increase the oxygen levels in a person's body, you dramatically improve their healing capability. Now, as massage therapists, I tell our students at the school all the time that when you increase circulation, you speed up the healing, and that's exactly what we do. If you remember, there was a picture of Bob Hope on his 100th birthday, and they asked Mr. Hope, what was the secret to your longevity? And he said, I get an hour and a half, 90 minutes of deep tissue massage every day. In fact, he said he got it every day for 63 years. Now, before you say, well, he can afford it, I get that, but that's a remarkable thing to say. And I tracked down his last massage therapist. Her name was Judy Kamensky. I put a picture of the two of them in my last book that I wrote called Soft Tissue Revolution. And in that book, she tells us that Mr. Hope told her that he had a massage every day for 63 years. So did Rose Kennedy, so did George Burns, and so did Queen Elizabeth when they asked her on her 92nd birthday, what was your secret? And she said, deep tissue massage. Um, so I believe in this work, and anything that increases circulation, and foot massage increases circulation. If you've ever been very fatigued and you run cold water in the bath and you put your feet under the cold water, it will wake you up. It's dramatic. It's like, it's like when a person has drank too much, they throw them in a cold shower, and that sobers them up. Kind of like that, but not as cruel. Anyway, so that's the first picture. Take us to the second picture, Allie. So here is a clinical foot reflexology chart. And like I said, all of the head things are at the top. The middle of the foot has the internal organs that you would find in the middle of your body. The heel of your foot would be the lower parts of your body as well. And these points that you can see, the bottoms and the tops and the sides and in the corners and in all the nooks and crannies. And I want to tell you, when I got that foot massage from Eunice Ingham's #1 disciple, who was still alive at least, when she got into those points with the end of her finger, and there was no oil, there was nothing nice about it, she was like, yow, and I was holding on to the chair with the sweat pouring down me. And I say, this is what Eunice Ingham did? No wonder why she can cure multiple sclerosis or some other degenerative condition. They made all these um, they said all these things about Miss Ingham. They said that she cured illnesses, and heads of state came from all over the world to get a foot reflexology from her, and that the police would hound her and the medical profession was on her tail. And we're talking about like the early 1900s when all of that took place. I don't know if any of that is true. I wouldn't relegate my leukemia to a foot massage. Certainly not. But anything that helps you to relax, that increases circulation, is good medicine. Remember, Hippocrates is the father of medicine, but he's also the father of massage therapy. When Hippocrates in Greece, ancient Greece, wrote the first medical textbooks for the first 1,000 conditions, almost all of them had massage as one of the treatments for dealing with that condition. Now, of course, granted, they didn't have a lot of things that they can do, and I'm sure tapping blood out of people's bodies or putting leeches on them or any of the other cockamamie things that might have been done in history is not my idea of good medicine. But neither is antibiotics, because it's dealing with symptoms. It's not dealing with the causes. And I'm always trying to get back to the causes. And I'm always really thinking about what can I do? What's in my power to change that can give me a fighting chance, to deal with this. And we know from this pandemic, people that have high vitamin D levels in their body, they have much less symptoms. People who are more fit handle sickness in a much better way. People who take a vitamin pill, a simple vitamin pill, according to the Harvard Nurses Study, added 5 years onto your life by the end of your life. They followed 100,000 nurses from the inception of their RN degree to the end of their life, and every nurse that took a vitamin pill lived years longer. There's not many things that a person can tell you that's going to add years onto your life outside of eat a plant-based diet, get some exercise every day, do all the things, keep your stress under control, things like that. Anyway, so this chart gives us a clinical view of where the liver points are, where the kidney points are, the different conditions that a person has. Supposedly, if you have sensitivity in a particular area, then the nerve ending from that particular organ ends at the bottom of the feet. So our working the feet can stimulate that particular nerve ending and supposedly do some good down the road if you're getting that on a regular daily basis, if you're hitting those points. I don't use reflexology for dealing with conditions. I don't even use it as an assessment or diagnostic tool, even though I know that there are many people that do it. The regular reflexology program in a school of reflexology is 500 hours long. Now that's the same as a massage program, so it's a very sophisticated education that people get. So I don't really say that I do reflexology. I usually say that I give a really great foot massage, and I'm aware of the reflexes, but I don't use them for assessment or diagnosis. I just use them to try to improve the circulation that is from the feet on up, right? So this is a really good foot chart. You can get a little crazy with it. Don't get crazy with it. It's just a reference tool. There's dozens and dozens, hundreds of charts if you Google. There's foot charts, there's hand charts, there are ear charts. Most people don't realize that there are 108 acupuncture points in your ears. And that's a form of reflexology as well. The point to lose, you want to see the point to lose weight? I don't know if I can get close enough here, but it's right here. It's where the doctor puts the staple in so that you quit smoking. I don't know if you've ever seen a person with a staple in their ear. I think just the notion of taking a stapler and into your ear is enough to make me quit smoking without getting the treatment, but that's just me. But it's right here, right in the center of the ear. If you hit that point, when we go to the buffet at the Waterside, which is down by you in North Bergen, they used to have a great Sunday brunch. I'm sure they still have it. If you hit those points before you go in, you're not going to get your money's worth because it's supposed to limit your appetite. I don't know. It seems to be nothing limits my appetite, but I'm just saying they believe in that. Okay, so that's the foot massage, the foot reflex. Turn to the next page, Allie. So now, in acupuncture, there are 12 acupuncture lines that run through the body. It kind of looks like the acupuncture chart looks like a New York City subway map. And the lung meridian would be the D train, and the heart meridian would be the BMT, and you would have the number 2 train or the number 7 train. It would be all these different acupuncture lines. Well, the lines run down from the organs out to the extremities, and there's 6 meridians that run down to the feet and 6 meridians that run down to the hands. This chart shows you what each finger or each toe, which organ is associated with it. So if you break your big toe, that's going to be the liver on the inside of the toe, the liver points, and the spleen on the outside of the liver toe. And that bunion that you see on that foot, that's spleen there, that's sugar. So bunions, in Oriental medicine, they'll say bunions are related to your diet. I know that they're related to dancers because my wife has one, but my wife also eats too much sugar, and they say that that's the sugar problem, that particular bunion. I don't know if that's true, or I'm just telling you what my teachers would say. So each one of these toes or fingers has something to do. So if you tell me that you keep spraining your thumb and it's your right thumb, that's the lung meridian. And when I used to work on a very famous opera star. I can't tell you his name, but you would know it, right? And he would say, "Laddie, open up my lung points. And then I would go into his hand reflexes, and right here in the pollicis muscle, I would massage for like 10 minutes on each side. And then he would go, and he would be able to do La Traviata, right? Or something like that. So this gives you a little insight into the complexity of the human body and the electromagnetic um, wiring, the template that we all have called the acupuncture charts. Let's go to the next picture. Okay, so now this brings us to the actual foot massage that we're going to be learning today. Now, if you have a partner with you to work on today, that's an especially good thing. I want to say that we should always warm up the feet before we do it, whether you stretch your feet or you massage them gently, or maybe you take off your socks and you walk a little barefoot around the house. That would be a good thing. Maybe you do a couple of rises several times up on your toes to stretch the feet. Maybe you even take a warm foot bath, or maybe you just rub the entire foot with gentle movements first, just to get the movement happening inside of your feet. I have a massage table here, and I have our volunteer, Terry, who, when I started this morning, I realized, oh, I don't have feet to work on. And so I called up my wife, the ballerina, and she's a big famous personal trainer now. And she goes throughout the whole day working on people. She's like the Jack LaLanne of the present day. In fact, she was Jack LaLanne's number one personal trainer when Jack was when he sold his health clubs to Bally's. She was the number one trainer at Bally's for Jack. And in fact, when I met her, I said, "You know Jack LaLanne?" I said, when I was a kid, my mother used to exercise every day to him. I mean, they named the jumping jack after Jack LaLanne, right? I mean, he not only invented that, he invented half the machines in the health club. And she said, well, yeah, I'm his number one trainer in the tri-state. She said, I went to the Super Bowl. I went to the Super Bowl with Jack. I said, you went to the Super Bowl with Jack LaLanne? What did you guys talk about? She said, well, we didn't talk that much. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, he was kind of shy. I was kind of shy. We watched the game. I said, you went to the Super Bowl with the guy who invented half of the equipment that's still used today and you didn't talk? That was the end of the conversation. She said shut up. And that was it. I was shut down. But let's go on right into the foot. So I have Terry here. So I couldn't get Kathy, so I got Terry, and you'll see there's Terry's feet. So I am going to do the work, and you'll get to watch it while we're doing it. So now, if you have your charts that we sent you, you can either look at the pictures and the charts that we sent to you here, or you can just follow what I do. Now, the first techniques that we're going to do after you've warmed up the feet a little bit, after you've just given it a little love, a little warmth, just a little bit, just to get things going. Oh, look, you did your nails and everything. Wow, how nice. Yeah. Okay. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to start by stretching toes. Now, when I stretch toes, I'm not going to pull the toes so they tear apart and then you get a big problem, right? It's a gentle stretch. So it's more like that, and then in the other direction. So they're going in two directions, like so. Got it, thanks, right? So I'm stretching the toes in both directions. I'm going to hold the stretch for like 5 to 8 seconds, because if you're not stretching it too much where it doesn't feel like it's tearing, but you're getting enough stretch, it releases tension and stress in your toes. And there's some people that really hold their stress and tension in their toes, right? you might even be one of those people if you're on the public transportation like a bus or a train, and you might be curling your toes with a little stress and tension, bouncing your legs while you're sitting there. All of that gets released when we stretch our toes. And you now have the chart to know which toes, which organs you are stretching. So all of these points at the end of the feet will stimulate the different internal organs. So I went all the way from the big toe down to the little guys, and now I'm going to travel back and do the other side. All right. So I'm going back in the same direction on the same foot. So I'm working on her left foot right now, although I'm sure it looks like the right foot because it's the camera angle of your computer. Now I'm going to do the other side. So we're stretching, gently stretch two adjacent toes in opposite directions, then reverse the direction. Move over one toe and repeat until all the toes have been stretched. So I went from the big toe to the little guy. Now I'm going to go to the little guy back to the big toe. Be gentle, be sensitive, pay attention. Okay, so now I did both of them. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. You know, I'm used to on the Zoom platform seeing people, and because this is a webinar, I can't see anybody because I usually watch what you're doing, and then I can make some suggestions or some corrections and such. Um, but now I'm going to go, since I can't see you, I don't know where you're at in this, but I'm going to now go to the pads of the toes. And so the pads of the toes are sinus points. Um, well, you can look at your chart. In fact, you can pull out your chart if you have it here, and you can see exactly what you're working on as you work on them. I'm talking about this chart, right? So you can see that the pads of the toes, the pad of the big toe is the brain, and then it has all the um, pineal gland, the thalamus, the pituitary gland, and the thyroid, the parathyroids. They're all in that big toe. So when you work on the pads, I'm just working in with my thumbs, as you can see here. I like to hold the points for usually a minimum of 5 seconds. 8 would even be better, but 5 is the minimum. So the tips of the toes, the pads of the toes, and the base of the toes are all important reflex points that will stimulate eyesight, hearing, sinuses. There's a whole lot of listed things on our pictures and diagrams. So I'm doing the pads right now. I'm on the second toe. Now I'm on the middle toe. I hope I'm not going too fast for you. If I am, somebody give right into the chat and give Allie a heads up so she can tell me to slow down or to speed up. Thank you, Maria. The most beautiful sound I ever heard. So I'm doing the pads. I did from the big toe to the little, and now I'm going from the little back to the big toe. Of course, the big toe has all of the most important points. So, you know, it's interesting that you can affect some of the hormonally based glands in our body from the big toe. Now they rave about these things. They say that you work a big toe, you can get rid of people's headaches and all different sorts of things. I don't know about that. I do know that it does feel good, and if I can get some additional benefits, I feel great about that. I do want to say though, I use my Footsie roller every single day, and I swear by those rollers. I have a little one, I have a medium, and I have a double. And when I get home from work, I'll do my feet just maybe like a minute or two on each foot, and I can't believe it, but it absolutely makes a difference. So it's worth the $7, $8, $10, whatever they cost to get them. So I did the pads. Now we're going to do the base of the toes. So I'm digging in just like this, and I'm just digging into the base with my fingertips. And if you look on your chart, the base of the toes is just underneath the second and third toe is the eyes, and underneath the fourth toe is the ears, the hearing, and under the big toe is for blood pressure, which I thought was real. I just learned that the other day, that under the big toe in here is for blood pressure. So the next time my blood pressure feels like it's going up, because I'm not a spring chicken, I'm going to start hitting this and see. I'll let you know. I'll communicate back, right? But I love that. I love the bases of the toes. And now we're going to do thumb work. So my thumbs are really strong because the first 8,000 massages that I did when I came to New Jersey in 1979 was traditional barefoot shiatsu. I learned the shiatsu when I was younger. I was in a doctoral program for nutrition, and I actually I was not going to be a massage therapist. That was a fluke. What happened was I was hired as director of nutrition for this entire medical complex that I'm in, and one of the doctors, the internist, came to me and said, I heard that you're a shiatsu master. And I said, I'm not a master, I just know how to do it. And they said, I have this really bad back pain. I'm in chronic pain. Do you think it would help? And I said, I don't know, we can try. After 3 sessions, he had no more pain, or at least up until, the next time that he did something crazy with his body. But I got him out of pain completely. He happened to be the doctor for all the nuns up at St. Clair's Hospital in Denville, and also the Franciscan Oaks, which is and St. Francis Health Resort, which was all run by the Order of St. Clair. When you do shiatsu, you don't have to take clothes off. So he sent me to work on some of the nuns that were in a lot of pain. If you help one nun, you get the good nun housekeeping seal, and they start Hail Mary, doing Hail Marys for you. All of a sudden, I had a full sold out clientele. Nobody wanted to change their diet in 1970. Nobody wanted to eat brown rice and miso soup to alkalize their body. And kale, there was no such thing as kale back then. They had iceberg lettuce at the Grand Union. And that shows you how long ago, because there is no more Grand Unions, right? But all of a sudden I had a huge clientele, and then everybody wanted me to teach them what I was doing. And now, of course, it's all history. I've had the longest running massage school in New Jersey, over 40 years. And now we've helped so many people. But I wasn't even planning on doing this. I was a nutritionist. But that's how life goes, isn't it? So my thumbs are strong. That was that was the original thing I was trying to say. I'm sorry. Um, so we're going to now go down the midline of the bottom of the foot. We're going to start with the midline. We're going to break the foot up into like 5 spots. All right? We're going to just break up the foot into 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, right down the middle. So I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm just going to press them in, and I'm going to hold it for a count of 5. And then I'm going to go down to the second spot, and I'm going to hold that for a count of 5. So it says apply pressure to subos, those are the acupuncture points, the pressure points, down the bottom of midfoot bilaterally to 5 points. Continue by doing the 5 points down the inside and the outside of the foot. Repeat 2 or 3 times. So right now we're just going down the middle. This is my 4th one down the middle. And the 5th one's right on the heel where you get the plantar fasciitis. Now I'm going to go down the outside line, and that is just below the little toe. And again, when you do this, you take out your chart, right? When you're working on your friends or your significant other, your wife, your husband, whomever it might be, one of your kids, take out the chart so that you can start seeing what it is that they say you're working on. Maybe we can figure out how they figured this all out 100, 200 years ago, because I can't imagine how they tracked all the nerve endings and what they did, but who knows? All the charts, there's 1,000 of these charts now, all different ones. Everybody seems to be in on the information. So I'm going down that outside line. Now I'm going to go down the inside line below the big toe. I'm only doing this once just for our time factor, right? And now I'm going to go under the big toe. So I'm splaying the feet open, right? I'm just opening them up, and then I'm putting my thumbs right in under the big toe. And if you look at that line under the big toe, there's an awful lot of things that are in there. Liver and stomach and adrenals and pancreas and transverse colon and kidneys and small intestines and so forth. Do a count like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, and then move it so you're not going too fast through it. So now I just did all of the 15 points. Now I'm going to repeat them one more time. So I'm going to start again right in the center of the toe, in the center of the foot. And I'm going to hit each point for a count of 5, those 5 points right down the center line. Maria wants to know, how are you feeling? Wait, I got to wake her up first. Wake up, Terry. She said, wonderful. They're laughing. Now I'm going to go down the outside line under the little toe. Terry's used to my hands. I've been working on Terry every week for how many years? Around 30 years. and I put her on that whole nutrition, that plant-based program, and a whole supplement program. And apparently it's working. Would you show them your face for a second, Terry? Give them a peace sign or something. So I'm not going to tell you her age. All I'm going to say is that Terry got her nursing degree in 1960. So figure it out. You know, all this diet stuff, it works. All this health stuff, all these nutrition things, it's Allie and her grant program that are bringing you longevity. bringing you longer life, healthier life. This is what we need to be doing, especially now in the middle of this, this crazy pandemic. We have to do all the health things possible. Make sure you're taking your vitamin D. I take 5,000 a day of vitamin D with K2. Now I'm going to work down below the big toe. So I'm going to splay the feet open, and now I'm going to work down that line as well. Okay. So now we're going to do the next thing, which number 5 on your chart, it says double thumb work. All right. I'm going to give you 20 more seconds to finish up the first.
While they're finishing up, Larry, I had a question from someone in the Q&A box, and they were saying that they are 79 years old and their feet are always cold, even in wool socks. So maybe you can speak a little bit to, I don't know about if you have any sort of circulation comment. I would think that was about circulation probably.
Yeah, of course, it's circulation. So that was the same thing about the guys in the wheelchairs. The circulation to the legs was so poor that after they walked 100 feet, they had to be put back into the wheelchairs. Then they all went on that Pritikin diet. Um, you're never too old to change your diet, to add supplements, to start an exercise program, to learn how to meditate. People are going to live to 100 years now. People are going to live longer and longer. It's not like it used to be where the retirement age was 65 because nobody ever made it to 65. Because if you ate the American diet of bacon and eggs for breakfast, ham and cheese for lunch, meatloaf and mashed potatoes for dinner, you had no fiber, you had no vegetables, you had no supplements, you had no vitamins. It was essentially you weren't living long. And in King Louis XIV's court, all they ate was meat and sugar, meat and confections, desserts. The average age in King Louis' court was 45. So as we eat better and better, and as we adopt more healthier programs, what's going to happen is we're going to just keep lengthening our lifespan. The Old Testament says that we're supposed to live 120 years. I suspect that if you started off your life completely on a plant-based diet of grains and beans and green leafies and the diet that the kids are eating nowadays, that vegan style of a diet, I think some of those kids are going to live well up to 100. I mean, we're making it to old ages eating the old diet that we ate, which was really a bad diet, an abomination. So I think circulation has something to do with nutrition, the foods that you are eating, the supplements you are taking, the exercises, maybe some massages would be a good thing. And for those who have Raynaud's syndrome, my teachers always taught that cold hands and feet, aside from circulation and hardening in the arteries, things like that, was from people who were eating too many tropical foods. Because, the things that grow in a tropical climate, that climate is very hot. If you eat the hot spices like the curry, it cools you off. That's why if you go to whatever country you go to that's a tropical climate, they always eat hot, spicy food. Not just India and Mexico, but Cambodia and Thailand and Vietnam and Myanmar and Indonesia. And there are countries all over the world where their food is very spicy because it's the cayenne that cools your body. It's the tropical fruits that that cool your body. The orange juice. If you drink a glass of orange juice here in New Jersey in the summertime, not too bad, but it's 4 oranges. It's a lot of sugar, and you'll freeze all winter long because it's cold here. That's a tropical food. In the tropics, things that grow there are for cooling, and the things that are here, we want to eat. We don't want to eat watermelon in the wintertime. We want to eat hot soup. So there's a lot of ways of thinking about it. I tell people that sugar is a tropical food, coffee is a tropical food, chocolate is a tropical food, as well as all the other tropical foods. So we might want to just save those for when it's hot outside, that could be more cooling, or we want to do everything in moderation. And I know there's a lot of people, even in our audience, that will not just drink that 1 cup of coffee a day, but maybe 3 or 4, and that is adapting you to a hot climate. So then in the wintertime, what do they say? Honey, can we go to the Caribbean? It's so cold. Can we get out of this cold? I hate this. What? Can we retire in Florida to Sarasota? Something like that. I understand why the people get cold though. And as you modify and change and adopt and start reading and start learning, then there's a lot of good things that you might be able to do. Now, let's go back. Now we're doing double thumb work, right? So now we're going to take both thumbs at the same time, and you're going to find that you're stronger with both than you are singularly, right? So then we're going to break up the foot again in 5 points running down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to hold each point for 5 seconds, and we're going to repeat it 2 or 3 times. So that's the first one. This is the second. Here's the third. Here's the fourth. And finally on the heel, here's the fifth. And I'm going to repeat that a second time. I'm going to do the double thumb right up underneath the pads of the toes. The second one. Third. Fourth. And last, the fifth. And now we're going to go and do the double thumb on the other foot. And while you're doing it, I'm going to talk a little bit. What you can't see here, I have this massage table, but this is a towel that she has her feet on so that if I wanted to towel rub or if I wanted to sponge bath her feet, let's say I wanted to clean her feet prior to the massage, right? Sometimes that's necessary, sometimes it's a good idea, and it feels great. So take a hot um, dishcloth of some sort and wash down the feet with maybe a peppermint soap like that Dr. Bronner's soap that they sell at the health food store. And then you towel rub it to warm it up. Then you go in and you do your foot. That's a nice start. That would be a nice thing. Now, you don't need to have a massage table. You can do it on a mat. You can do it on a carpet. But you can put the towel, a thick terry cloth towel underneath the feet, and that can be used uh, throughout the massage when needed. So now I'm working on her other side, and the double thumb, hold it for count of 5. finally, I'm on the heel now. And I'm going to repeat that line one more time. So repeat it again one more time. People sometimes ask, how deeply do we go in, Larry? I usually tell people, just go into the point of resistance. So that means if you're looking at my arm, where I'm pressing, where it stops and pushes against me, that's the point of resistance. It's not really deep. It's just to the point of resistance. That's the starting point. I want to take the tension off one layer at a time, desensitize it. Nothing should hurt. So I just done all of the 5 points now on both feet with the double thumbs. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to finish that up, and then we're going to turn to the next page, which gives us the oil work that we're going to do for tonight. Everything that we're doing is on the sheets that we sent to you. I sent to Allie, Allie sent to you. Thanks for the grant. And these pictures, they're not that great, the pictures, because they were taken in 1980. I was working on Bruce Springsteen's massage therapist here. That's Bruce Springsteen's massage therapist's feet that you're looking at. We're going to use any form of oil. Um, I use massage oils. This is a lavender blend. It has 3 types of lavender. Um, the ingredients are grapeseed oil, apricot kernel oil, sweet almond oil, and then it has all the different lavenders, and it also has vitamin E. So this is a regular massage blend. I mean, where can you buy a foot roller? Just just put Footsie Roller, Footsie, into the Google. Put a Footsie Roller in there, and it will come up. It should come up. But you want to get one that, well, you can't tell when they come up. I can tell, but I'd have to get the link for you. But try the Google because that's where I got them. As far as the massage oil goes, you can buy a bottle of massage oil in most health food stores. You can buy anything on Amazon, right? The brand name of this is Auracacia, Aura, second word Cacia, Acacia. Um, this is the massage oil that we've been using at our massage school for many years, and I really like it. It has all different sorts of blends, apricot and orange and so forth. So we're going to put a little oil. You can use a little cream. You can use, look, you can even get away with sunflower oil or olive oil. You know, it's emollient. It's fine. If we add a little vinegar, we could eat your feet for salad. But you get the point. It's usable. So I'm gonna pour some of the oil onto my hands, and I'm just gonna put it on her feet. Now I'm going to make an M. Just like that, my pointers are going to be right on the top of her foot. And then my 3 fingers on my right hand is going to be underneath her ankle. And my 3 fingers on my left hand is going to be underneath the other ankle. And I'm just going to rub them back and forth like that. How's that? You can see that, right? So I'm making an M, rub deeply back and forth. Now I'm going to take, um, with my fingertip, I'm going to turn my fingertips into like fine paring tools. Make believe that we're doing porcelain work and we're scraping away the excess porcelain to make a beautiful, flush piece of pottery. So now I'm going to go in to the sides and I'm just going to do small little back and forth movements with my fingertips. And I'm going to work all the area around the ankle, the backside, underside, around the top, just getting into all these. And I'm going to do it on both sides, the inside of the foot and the outside. And if you were to look at your acupuncture chart, this one, what you're going to see is on the inside and the outsides of the ankles are the groin, inner pelvic bone, rectum, uterus, prostate. There's a whole bunch of important points that are associated with the Achilles in the back and all down around the inside of the ankle and the outside of the ankle. So we're hitting those points and we're digging in. And we're going to do that to both feet. Right? I'm going to do it.
Larry, we got a great question. How can we help some swelling of the ankle if they have any ankle swelling?
Well, you know, manual lymph drainage is the, the approach that addresses edema. And the swelling that we have is very common in a lot of people. Uh, there's a lot of reasons for it, not least of which is, you know, we've had a fair amount of surgeries and scar tissue. But more importantly, sometimes the glands, the lymph glands, have been destroyed by surgeries, and the fluids have no place to run out. So a manual lymph drainage person can redirect the fluid to one of the um, drains, one of the glands that are that drain all the fluids, and we can get that out. And that's why people come for manual lymph drainage, MLD. It's very popular now. Outside of that, there's, you know, this kind of massage maybe can move some of that fluid, but it's the MLD that really does the trick. You know, that's the stuff that really works with all the swelling in your body. Now, I'm not that close to North Bergen. I'm a good ride. So maybe you want to find somebody that's closer to your town that does manual lymph drainage, but it's worth, if you find somebody, they're rare because it's a very popular training now, but people are just starting to refer, doctors are referring everybody for manual lymph drainage that has swelling. So you might want to find an MLD person in your neighborhood. So it's MLD or manual lymph drainage. Uh, they're not they're not easy to find, but they are out there. I wish I had a better answer, but there's nothing that I can teach you right now in a 90-minute class that's going to address swelling outside of, you know, what the doctor gives. And I'm not a big fan of Lasix, you know, but what are you going to do? You can get MLD. That's what I'm a big fan of. So I'm doing the inside and the outside of the other foot. I did the M, and then I did in and around the ankles on both feet now. Now I'm going to run my fingertips along the top of the metatarsals. So right in between the toes, that's called the metatarsals. The metatarsals are the long bones, but in between the metatarsals, and again, you can see on your picture the tops over here, those are in between the toes. And those points are all associated with the lymph nodes, the neck, the shoulder, the clavicle, lower back, gut, head surface. I mean, there's so many different things. I don't know how they figure all this stuff out, but it has always fascinated me. And I'm going in between right now, in between all of these. I think that if you did anything, you know, like an hour a day, every day of a week, every week for, a month or two, maybe then that's when you see those dramatic changes in your body. You know, for me, it's just like a nice foot massage. It's relaxing. It maybe lowers my blood pressure. I get some good sleep, something like that. But if you're doing something on a very regular basis, maybe that's the game changer. Maybe that's what's necessary to get the medical um, benefits. So I'm going in between each of the toes. I can do it either with all four fingers or you can do it with one finger at a time. If you're like me, anytime somebody touches my hands or feet, I just start relaxing. People ask me all the time, Larry, when should I get my next massage? And I say, in around 3 hours. Because the more you get, the longer you live. That's what Bob Hope showed us. So now we did in between both of the toes on both of the feet. The next one is rubbing back and forth in between the toes at the base, right? So now I'm putting my finger right between the toes, as you can see, and I'm pressing down, right? And I'm rubbing back and forth. Now, this is a weird feeling. It looks weird, right? But it's very therapeutic because we hold so much tension in our feet. You don't realize until somebody starts working on it. And then you see it.
Larry, we got a question. Do you recommend socks with diagram to do the massage?
Oh yeah, those reflexology socks. I love those things. Those are so nice. I don't know how accurate they are. You'd have to match them up with other charts. It's somebody's putting a chart there, and of course everybody has their name on each chart. So I can't use Joe's chart. I can't use this chart. I got to get permission from this book. So I don't know exactly what's going to be on the bottom of that sock, but I've seen those socks. I like those things, and yeah, that would be helpful. That might be helpful. Of course, I like getting the work right on the foot, but a thin sock is just like another layer of skin. So I don't think that can be a problem. That can give you some insights and help you to learn. So I'm sweeping back and forth between each of the toes, pressing down like I'm cutting them in half like a saw, right? And I'm going to do that to both sides. I know, again, it feels a little weird, but it's the therapeutic benefits that are afterwards that make all the difference. And our Terry now looks like she's in a coma.
Larry, I got another question. Can you bend your legs back at your sides, or do the bottom of your feet have to? I think what they're trying to ask is, do you need to keep your legs straight while you're doing this, or can your legs be bent?
Oh, they can be bent. They can, if you're sitting in a chair and I pick up one of the feet, even though you're sitting in a chair and I just pick up the feet and I start working on it, it's just as beneficial. That's not going to be a problem. Some people can't put their legs straight, but you can get the benefits. Definitely benefits. Yes, yes. Okay, so now we did that. The next to last one is milk the toes. So now all I'm doing here is just like this. I'm sweeping up left, sweeping up right, sweeping up left, sweeping up right. I'm just milking the toes. And if you can do it, I do it fast. It feels really good, right? Milk the whole foot. Right? We do it on both feet. And then it says on G, it says work the entire foot, including the bottom of the foot. So now when I say work the whole foot, you can wring it, you can stretch it, You can twirl it, you can bend it, you can caress it, you can tickle it, you can smack it at the bottom to get all the nerves heated up, right? Because it's all relaxing. You can wipe it down with a cold cloth, a hot cloth. You can put an herb on it. There's any number of things that you can do that will stimulate the bottom of the feet. What we really want to do is a little bit of everything, right? Try every type of stroke, every type of thing that you can do to the bottom of the feet, because the person who's getting it are not going to complain that you're practicing. They're going to love you for it, right? But I want to say that be careful. If you spoil each other, you're going to be looking for each other to get a foot massage all the time, and it's very addicting. And of course, everybody wants to get it. Nobody wants to give it. So the person who gives it has to be rewarded. I don't know what that reward's going to be, but it should be good.
Larry, this is a great question. I think particularly for these times, right? It's okay to use gloves. Like, is that going to change the feeling if you have a glove on while you're performing a massage?
Not at all. When we first went through the pandemic, I work on people who are that I'm essential to. They're in so much pain that the doctors have written prescriptions for me to work on them, even when the crazy pandemic was closing everything down. These people really needed uh, their body work, and at that point, we were masked. We're still masked, and we did everything. The fever scans and all the precautions that needed to be taken. But I also wore gloves. And at first, you think like it can cut off the touch. It doesn't. You get used to it really easy. But it's not the first time. When I first put them on, it was like weird. The second time I had to do it, it was still a little weird, but it was a little less. By the fifth time, it was like I was doing with gloves all the time. There are people that always say you should work with gloves when you're working on people who are compromised immune wise, like HIV, things like that. And I have no problem. We have a box of gloves. I'll show you. We have gloves in our room. In all of our treatment rooms, we have gloves, right? Simple latex, or if you're allergic to latex, then the other one. But gloves are fine. Um, and then there are people who are skeeved by other people's feet. They want to get the nice massage, but they're a little, you know, they're a little afraid, and so they put on the gloves. It's all good. It's no worries as far as that goes. So now we're just massaging the entire foot, just doing anything. You might come up onto the calf and knead the calf. You might want to rotate the ankle 15 times to the left, 15 times to the right. I do the same thing with the toes, 15 times to the left, 15 times to the right. That's dramatic in increasing circulation. It's a good thing. Do it gentle, especially the gal that has a little bit of the neuropathy on her feet. If you have the tingling, if you have the numbness, be gentle, but it might even help. It might be something good. Here's another question. For MLD, I go to Juan Carlos. I can't read the last one, but great. Um, yeah, and I'm sure he probably took it at my school because we have the pioneer of manual lymph drainage for 7 years has been teaching here on a monthly basis. So we do get an awful lot uh, of help with people. All right. So if you want to come up to Morris County, we're here. So okay, that's the oil work to the feet. Now I know we've run out of time, um, and we still have hands to do, but I do want to say that in your hand chart, it's pretty much the exact same thing that we with the feet, right? And so I want to take a 2-minute break because somebody's at the door. and pull out your chart for your fingers, and then if Allie gives me another 10 minutes, I can do the hands. Hold on.
Hey, everybody. We understand if you have to cut out. Larry said we will be doing maybe another 10 minutes. If everybody wants to stay, feel free. I'm here. Missy with our captioner, she probably will stop around this time. My apologies. But if you feel like you want to cut out, no problem. If you would like to stay, also no problem.
Okay, I'm back. All righty. Allie?
Larry, I said that's totally fine. I'm here for the next 10 minutes. If anybody wants to stay on, they can. If they want to cut out, they can feel free to do that as well. I sent everybody the email, the chart with the email. I sent everybody the chart in their email before this. But tomorrow, when I go through the recording, I can send the slides one more time to everybody just so that they have them. There is one question maybe before we start the hands, if we can do it quick. Oh, someone's saying to you, he's terrific. I'm really enjoying this seminar. That's nice. Can you do this on children? Like, can you do a foot massage on children? Would you recommend it for kids? Is it safe?
You know the answer to that. Everybody knows the answer to that. Of course you can. That would be the greatest thing, to get a foot massage before the kid goes to sleep, to relax them, to help them. A foot massage with a story is even better. My kids got a foot massage all the time, and they got the Chi-Chi and Bobo story. Chi-Chi and Bobo were the monkeys in the Bronx Zoo that would sneak out every night to visit their cousins at the Central Park Zoo. And I would make up a whole story every night while I would massage their feet. And by the middle of the story, they'd be sleeping. And then they'd always say the next morning to me, "Dad, you didn't finish the story." I said, "Oh, we'll finish it tonight." And then we start with the foot massage again. And, so you can make it into a wonderful tradition. Kids love to get their feet done, of course. Okay, so the hands, I'm just going to go over what we did so that you know, you have the sheet, so it tells you what we did. We're going to stretch the fingers just like we did with the toes. We're going to knead the wrist, right? Just like this. We're going to knead the wrist back and forth. We're going to apply oil and work the entire hands. Usually, the way the hands work is um, the middle finger is the head, the next two fingers are the arms, the next two fingers, the outside two fingers, are the legs, and then the middle of the hand is all the internal organs in the center of your body. That's kind of the, the basic rule. And so when we massage, we're going to do each finger one at a time. We're going to work each finger. We're going to work the wrists back and forth. You can work the forearms, and you can knead the forearms. Terry, would you sit up for a second so I can show them? Pass me over an arm here. Mm-hmm. So I would be doing this with a little oil, because otherwise it's like an Indian sunburn, and we don't want to do that. All right? And then it's just back and forth. Now, this is the technique that Tom Brady told everybody on television that was his secret. He was on the Colbert Show, and this was 3 years ago, and he was turning 40 at the time. And he said, Colbert asked him, he said, "What's your secret? There's got to be a secret aside from, and he says, "Well, nutrition is the big secret." He said, "But there's one technique that I have done every single day." And then he says, "Roll up your sleeve," to Colbert, and then he does this back and forth, really, really deep on the forearm. He said, "This is what's been my secret. If every quarterback would get that deep tissue forearm massage, it would be a game changer." So that's a technique that I do in every massage. Everybody raves about it, but you can do it too. And that, talk about increasing circulation to the hands, especially for arthritic complaints. All of that would be very nice. Okay. Um, we have knead forearm, then milk each finger. So milking the fingers looks more like this. So I'll put the fingers in between my two like that, and I'll go like that. Or you can just do it the normal way. Just grab the finger and twist it a little bit as you milk it. Work the wrist vigorously back and forth. And then I do a fancy thing where you see me either doing something like this, where I put one finger in the pinky, one finger in the thumb, I spread it out, and then I massage. That's a nice way of doing it. Or I can do one hand and I can spread them out in the same way. Right? It looks kind of fancy. I just putting my thumb here, my pinky here, and that splays the hand open and allows me to get right into the center. However that you want to do it, then massage the whole hand just like we did with the feet. We massage the entire foot with oil and just get that circulation going. Hand massage is very effective. Foot massage is very effective. And if you have them added to a whole deep tissue massage of your whole body, it is it's like heaven. It's just like heaven. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. Yes, yes, she agrees. She
I agree.
yeah,
Yes.
there it is. Okay, we'll take a couple of questions, then we'll call it a night. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. So I was laughing at this one because they say that they do a massage on their dogs. That would be so cute. I'm sure dogs would like it.
What dog
Sorry.
wouldn't like that? Right?
We have one question here. This is wonderful, very informative. I got a few other notes saying how great this was, how informative this was. So thank you, everyone. I see Monica does have their hand raised. If you want to just type in the chat your question, or you can do in the Q&A. Love it. Thank you. Great. Well, this was so wonderful, everyone. If no one has any other questions, feel free to type in your chat. Oh, where are you located?
So we have two facilities. One is at the Parsippany Medical Complex. It's in Morris County. This is Lake Region. I live. There's lakes everywhere here. If you just come west, you cannot believe how beautiful northern New Jersey is. We have like over 20 lakes. So it's the Parsippany Medical Complex, and it's New Jersey Massage. You can NewJerseyMassage.com, spell New Jersey out, and then you can see all of our programs. You can come take a Reiki class. We have Reiki masters, hot and cold Reiki masters. We got everything because this is a very sophisticated program. We also have.
I'm going to type now. I'm going to send a link to everybody with the New Jersey Massage link in the chat.
We also have a place in New Providence called Providence Health and Fitness. That's my wife's facility. It's a 4,000 square foot facility. We have bar classes, yoga classes, Zumba classes, Pilates, gyrotonic, all different sorts of. We have all of our massage staff there. Of course, everything is on the Zoom platform right now, but now we're about to go back starting May, I think it's 2nd. We're doing a 6-week get ready for summer program with a whole nutrition program along with exercise. We're only taking 10 people, so it's socially distanced, it's safe. That place, my wife is a clean freak, so that place is sanitary, beautiful. And the medical group that we're in is also like that. So we welcome you to come visit us. I have a Zoom meditation class twice a month for free. We do that. We do classes all the time. And my wife's program, she has 23 classes a week on the Zoom platform, yoga classes, bar classes. You can do it from home if you're still not ready to go out. Terry, you do 2 classes a day, yeah. Right? So Terry does a bar class or a Pilates class and then a yoga class every single day, 2 hours. And she's been doing it the whole year. So it's a game changer. People, we have to get healthy. That's the one thing that the medical profession did not say. They told everybody, get the immunizations, get, socially distanced, wear a mask, stay safe, all that. They didn't say, take your vitamin pill, eat a plant-based diet. they didn't give us all the important things about vitamin D, etc., that we need to do. So I'm telling you, let's do it. Let's all get healthy and protected. How does that
Thank
sound?
you. That sounds absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you everyone for reaching out. If you guys really liked this program, which it seems like you did, I'm going to be sending out in a few days a survey. And if you really enjoyed it, please, if you wouldn't mind filling out the survey, that would be amazing. We have a lot of other medical programs. We have our yoga programs that we do weekly, Zumba. So if you guys are interested in more from the library, feel free to go to nbpl.org, follow us online. We had been talking to Larry about maybe some other massage programs. So always let us know. You can email me specifically if you know my email. I sent it out earlier today, letting us know what you guys might want to see in some more programming. But other than that, thank you both very much for joining us. This was wonderful. And everyone have a safe and healthy night. Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you, Allie, for doing such great work, honey.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome.